What does fitness look like long term? This is now obviously in the perspective of an athlete competing now, potentially obviously then moving into an improvement phase, competing again, but then, maybe, ending their career or their competing journey and then, just continuing with their fitness journey. What does that journey look like essentially? So this obviously depends on your goals. We all know that whether we like it or not, we are all getting older. And one of the most important things to do for quality of life, for longevity, to live a better life is to prioritize our health. So many people spend, their entire youth and lives trying to attain wealth only to get to a certain age, and they've obviously not prioritize their actual health, and then they spend all their money trying to get healthy again. So you want to avoid that. You want to be the best mom, the best dad. You want to have the most obviously impressive, joyful, obviously fun-filled life that you can live, and your health is going to be a priority always, regardless if it is competing for a few years, obviously in the space of that, or it's just overall health and well-being. It's something that you're going to have to focus on. So it all depends on your goals. But essentially, when we look at competing, your competing career is not going to be a long one for 99% of the people that compete. It's going to be a phase. It's a big, goal that you set. It is a little bit more extreme. It is a little bit more selfish. It is a certain phase of your life that you're going to be focusing on this goal. And some people are going to do it for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, obviously max. And then, pull out and life carries on. You become a mom, or, you become a, more career driven, or you move into a different discipline within fitness that you fall in love with. It all depends where life takes you. No one can predict, no one can tell you where that goes. But you got the small percentage of people that really, really, truly find their passion and love for competing and really want to push it, and they compete, for 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years and try and maximize it for as long as they can. We're going to be talking about the general population, who competes for a short period of time. Obviously, when you compete, you go through different phases. Ideally, there would be an improvement phase where you build a foundation. Obviously you improve, you shape your mold, your physique, and put yourself in a good position, build a healthy relationship with food, and then, you diet down strategically for showtime. You compete in a few shows, a few months over the course of the year. After that season, you then reverse diet, raise your calories up again, drop down your activity level, get more into a more lifestyle type of, dieting or eating, way of living. And then you focus again on an improvement season, bring up your obviously weaknesses, kind of like build on your strengths, and, just, become a better athlete for the next year when you compete again. And then you go through those cycles through your competing season. It's not just something that you do for 2-3 months before a show. It's something that the people that really do well at competing understands that it's a year-long journey. It's obviously more sustainable during the improvement phase. It gets a little bit, a little bit more restrictive and less sustainable during your, hard, few weeks of cutting, and, between those show phases. But that's the sport. It's not something that is for everyone. It's something that the 1% of the population realistically can achieve and adhere to. The others, try and fail and maybe, better off doing, other forms of fitness or sports or disciplines. But essentially you will go through, those healthy phases. That's the way you should compete. Shouldn't necessarily compete every year. Some people like competing 1 year on, take a year off, really make improvements, come back, and obviously compete again. On those year offs, focus more on family, focus more on business. But ideally you want to balance everything. It's not about just prepping and, kind of like locking yourself in the gym and only eating, perfect meals for, obviously 365 days. And you don't have relationships, you don't have a career, you've got nothing else going for you. For me, that's not success. You need to be able to manage all of your relationship, your business, your family, everything going for you. And your fitness journey should fit into your life. And, that's the best way, to have longevity and enjoyment in it without, becoming resentful and, kind of like the joy being sucked out of the entire journey. But what happens afterwards? So afterwards, it all depends. It's not something like, going to lose all of your hard work. It all depends, once again, on how disciplined you are in that reverse dieting phase, moving back into a lifestyle, kind of like, period of your life. The extreme dieting and training is something of the past. You don't have to be in the gym, 5, 6, 7 days a week. You don't have to be doing cardio, an hour a day. You don't have to be, dieting in an extreme calorie deficit and only have, a few food options. It becomes sustainable, variety full, flexible. You can do whatever you want for training. You can do whatever you want for cardio, whenever you want to incorporate it, depending on your goal, whether you want to gain a little bit of muscle or maintain your current fitness and look, or you want to lose a little bit of body fat, that will, change depending on what your specific goal is, whether you diet in a calorie deficit while you stay on maintenance, whether you obviously, diet in a surplus, whether you have to train more volume or less volume, or it all completely depends. But you're going to have to find a groove again where you at least train, I would say, 3 to 4 days a week, where you are mindful of your food, following an 80-20%, obviously principle will always be, your way of eating, ideally in a healthy sense, whether you're doing it for, athlete purposes, whether you're doing it for lifestyle purposes. Your life carries on, and health is wealth. It's always going to be, supposed to be your number one priority when it comes to your life. Obviously, you've got God, you've got your family, and then it is your health. You know what I'm saying? Without your health, you're not going to be the person that you want to be. You're not going to be as successful as you want to be. You're not going to be as mentally healthy as you want to be. You're not going to be the best, obviously, family, member, father, mother that you want to be. So you've got to be, mindful and realize that this isn't something that's going to go away. This is something that you have to do, and invest in for the rest of your life. And depending on your goal, that's going to look different, the intensity that you go for it. But, general sense, you can really, really enjoy the journey once competing is over, and you can, do the training that you enjoy doing. You can go for hikes, you can do boxing, you can, obviously, do different disciplines of training, whether it's running or CrossFit or whatever the case may be. You just need to stay fit, essentially, move a few hours a week, be mindful with, your meals, get sufficient protein, and have obviously a balanced meal plan. Focus on, obviously the calories depending on your goal, and you will be perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? But it's something that you have to understand. Your body is not going to always look shredded. Competition lean is extreme, okay? No one stays that lean for, the rest of the year even. Never mind, obviously a few months after your competing days are over, or a year or two afterwards. We get so stuck in this bubble of, obviously being extremely lean is the norm. And if we have, a little bit of body fat, or we don't have abs, you are now a failure, and you are now a disgrace to the fitness industry, or whatever the case may be. And that is just absolutely ridiculous. You've got to be mindful of what the average person, looks like, what an above average person looks like, obviously fitness wise. And, even if you are exercising, 4 or 5 days a week, and, you don't have abs, and you're eating mindful, you're probably in better shape than 90% of the population anyways. But you need to make peace with that and understand that competition lean is just for those few, obviously few weeks, few months at most, when you're obviously dieting hard at an extreme level. The rest of the year, even when you are competing in your improvement phase, you are a few kgs heavier, 5 to 8 to 10 kgs heavier than what you are during, stage time. But you control, once again, depending on your goal, depending on how much weight you want to pick up, you are in control at the end of the day. So if you want to obviously stay nice and trim and lean, you can keep, 70-80% of, your condition for the rest of your life, if you're mindful, if you're eating healthy, and, doing the right thing when it comes to movement and calorie consumption. But your goal should never be to be as lean as you are stage time and stay that way. It's perfectly normal. In many ways, it's more beautiful and way more accepted, by the general population. And, obviously, even, so many girls think that it's, if I pick up 5 or 10 kgs, I'm saying, a guy or my husband or my partner is not gonna, love me or find me attractive anymore. And if you actually ask, your partner or your husband or a love interest, majority of men actually enjoy, the ladies' off-season physique more, than when it is, obviously stage lean. So it's just changing your perspective and your worldview when it comes to fitness, understanding that it's not about anyone else. Their opinions do not matter. So don't let their judgment or your assumption of their judgment, in any way, shape, or form dictate or, have power over you. Fall in love with your body, appreciate it through all of the phases, and just enjoy fitness for what it is. Fitness is a feeling. Being healthy and in shape is a feeling. It's when you feel confident and comfortable in your own skin to enjoy life at the fullest. You're not saying no to certain things. It doesn't mean you have to weigh a certain amount. It doesn't mean you have to look a certain way in a bikini or in a swimsuit. It's a feeling of confidence. And confidence is obviously, the promises that you keep to yourself, and it's a perspective. So yeah, that's pretty much my, 2 cents on what fitness looks like long term during your competing phase and afterwards, for life moving forward. God bless.